Welcome, welcome. How are you? Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Look at all of you beautiful people. You're here. Hi. So good to see you. Thanks for joining. We'll start in just a moment. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Anna. Hi, April. Hi, Katie. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Cool. You ready to start? Let's do it. Hi. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be with me today. So you made it. You are here. And I'm just going to jump in. So you are at my very first webinar, which is called CourageLab, the 9 things you need to ask for more and raise major gifts. I am Julie Ordoñez. That is me. And I'd love to meet you. So introduce yourself in the chat, write in who you are, where you're from, what you do, and I'd love to see you. And this will definitely be interactive. So participate in the chat. So here's what you're going to learn in the next hour. This is what we're going to cover. This is sort of our agenda. The biggest mistake that I see fundraisers making, it's going to be good. The 9 things that you need to raise a lot of money. Details for my upcoming group coaching course, CourageLab. And then I'll do a Q&A at the end. So you can save your questions till the end and I will definitely make time to cover them. Sound good? Cool. Hi, Sarah, Development Director. Amazing. Lanice, yes. Hi. Hello, Ria. Hi, Rebecca. Yes, awesome. So good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. So let me guess who you are. You are someone who is ambitious. You are in the nonprofit space. You've likely already raised quite a bit of money, and you have a sneaking suspicion that you're leaving money on the table. Most of us probably feel that way. Raise your hand if you feel that way. You're like, I probably could be raising more. But you also really care about relationships, and you're a relationally intelligent leader. So you don't want to max out your donors who are already giving. You don't want to, frankly, ruin relationships that you've worked really hard to build. And so you're not trying to max people out, and that is a concern. And you also would love to connect with other peers who are in this nonprofit fundraising space, but who has the time for that? You're trying to raise a lot of money. So I totally get it. And if that's you, just put yes in the chat. If any of that resonates with you, yes, this resonates with me. You are in the right space. This is for you. Yes, yes, I see yeses. So good. Yes, Stephanie says. I'm so glad you're here, Stephanie. Oh, Maylot, hi. Oh, I really, I want all of you to meet one another because all of you are amazing. There are some amazing people in here. So I also get the circumstances that we're in, right? We're in the middle of a global pandemic. Hello. And we're trying to raise money in times that are unprecedented, which we've heard so many times before. And you are aware that the downturn of the economy has not only affected the people that you serve locally in your community around the world, but that it's also affected your donors. And that you feel like people can't give more. They're maxed out, right? I've heard this so many times before, and I totally get it. And you probably also feel that you would raise more if other people helped you, if they did their job, right? If your boss raised more, if your board did more with fundraising. If this also resonates, I'd like to hear a yes in the chat. So if any of that resonates with you, let me know, because I completely understand that as well. And I want to acknowledge that. Yes to all, Sarah says. All of the above. Got it. Yeah, and I get it, and I've been there. So Chris says yes. I hear you, Chris. And here's the truth. The reason that you haven't raised more is because you haven't asked for it. That's it. That's the truth. There's never a perfect time to ask. There's always going to be something going on in the world. The people who raise more ask for more, period. That's it. And 70% of all giving comes from people, So typically, if you're not raising more than enough, right, there's a difference between being fully funded and raising enough, right? You're missing out. And $300 billion is on the table from individuals in the US. This is compared to a measly 17% from the foundations that we find to be so coveted. Yes, they have billions of dollars in their endowment. Yes, they have a lot of money to give, but do they give it? That's really the point that matters. They give 75 billion compared to the 300 billion that human beings give in this country, and then 5% from corporations, which we create whole strategies for corporations, don't we? But they're not the most generous, not even close. So why do we focus so much on foundations and corporations if compared to people, which we are surrounded by, we are surrounded by human beings? Why do we focus so much on them compared to people? Well, I'll tell you. Fear. It's real. Fear. Fear of approaching people face to face and asking them to be a part of your mission. Fear of being told no, of rejection, right? Fear of compromising good relationships and appearing to be out for money, that you only care about what they can give. That's a big one. Fear that you're going to max out the people who've already given to you. Hey, look, I'm done. This is the most I can do. And having to face that moment, yuck, right? So which of these would you say resonates with you? Being told no, again, put it in the chat. Maxing out, just approach the face-to-face component of approaching people, risking relationships, risking good relationships, right? That you've worked hard to build, and that you don't want to appear, you don't want to seem like, oh, they're in fundraising, so they only want to talk to me because they're trying to get my money and they know I have money, right? Yeah, Maylot, compromising relationships. I hear that. Yes, that is a big one. Fear of looking like I'm only interested in their money. Yes. Relationship, mix of it all. Nikki, I gotcha. So if you want to raise more money, you're going to have to get over those fears. You're going to need courage. Courage is doing it afraid, right? Courage is the catalyst for change in today's world. And I believe that it is the biggest skill gap in the nonprofit sector, courage. And Maya Angelou said this really beautiful quote that I absolutely love. Courage is the most important virtue, because without courage, you can't practice any of the other virtues consistently. Courage is the fuel that allows you to be this ambitious leader that allows you to be full of faith and believe that we can change, that humanity can get better, right? Which is why you're even in nonprofit in the first place, because you believe that it can get better. So what you need, all you need, is the courage to ask. Got to ask for more. So who am I and why the heck am I talking to you about this? I'm Julie. Hello. I am a fundraiser. I'm a risk taker. I'm taking a risk doing this. This is my first time doing this, so I welcome your feedback, but please be nice. I love to challenge the status quo. And my mission is to help ambitious nonprofit leaders like you get the courage to ask for more. That is why I'm here. That is my purpose, frankly. My experience, I was at United Way of Greater Los Angeles and a top 1% fundraiser there. And I've raised, 7 figures annually for 7 years consecutively. And I've also helped nonprofit clients and leaders raise 5, 6, and 7-figure gifts. And I love it. I love doing this, and all from individuals, by the way. So that's me. And I started out like you. I was a 1-person development shop. Anybody else? That's you. You're like, I'm the only one fundraising. At a community center in South LA. And, I did everything. I did PR, I updated the website, I did individual giving, I did our corporate strategy, I did all of our grant writing, I did our event planning, volunteer management, I managed interns, you name it, I did it. And we exceeded our goals. This is actually a photo of me and my husband. This is over a decade ago. And this was at my very first fundraising gala that I did. And this photo, I was really pleased and my boss was really happy with me and we exceeded our goal. The goal was $30,000 that night and we raised 50. And that was my first event that I ever did. And we had over 200 people there, but my hair was falling out. And I was losing weight and I wasn't really eating. I was stressed. And I would say burning out for sure. And I didn't know at the time that there was a better way. And so leading into that, this has to do with the biggest mistake that I see fundraisers make right now. What do you think that it is? Take a guess in the chat. What do you think is the biggest mistake that fundraisers are making? Just go ahead, your best shot. Let's see, not asking, okay. Yep. Not asking, not knowing how to ask. That's a good one. Assuming we know how much someone will be willing to give before we ask. Ooh. Not having a relationship with donor. First with the donor for a big gift. Yeah, that's a good one too. Trying to do everything at once. These are great guesses. And there is someone who is really, really close, and that is Sarah S. Assuming. The biggest mistake that I see fundraisers making is assuming, and it makes me want to pull my hair out. Okay, I will explain to you what I mean. You are assuming that your donors are maxed out. You're assuming that they don't want to hear from you. You assume that they don't want to give, that they can't give, that they would be put off if you ask for more, that the donors don't care as much as you do, that if they don't respond to your email, that it means that they don't want to meet with you, that they don't like you, that they want to hear from somebody else, not you. That 20K is a lot of money to them, that 100K is a lot of money to them, that's the kind of money they wouldn't be willing to part with. This is the biggest mistake that I see fundraisers making, assuming things like this, because what happens when you assume this is what you believe, right? And our beliefs are important because they impact how we behave. They impact the choices we make. That's why we have to challenge our assumptions. So I want you to put in the chat 1 through 9, which one of these do you think is one that you're like, that's probably the one that I jump to conclusions the most often, is this one. Yeah, Stephanie, lacking strategy. I hear that. Number 1 for our donor base. Yeah, 5. Okay, they would be put off if you asked for more. Yeah, 5. I let it see a lot of 5s. And 1s. A 3. Yeah, they don't want to. Yeah, what else? Yeah, 8. Yeah, if they don't answer your email, it means they don't want to meet with you, right? That's what it means. Okay, let me say something to that. This is a little coachy. How many emails do you not respond to right away? And it is not personal. It's not. It's not personal. It's not because you don't like that person. It's not because you don't want to talk to them. It's not because you don't want to do whatever. Sometimes it is, but it's a decision to believe that, right? It's a choice to believe that. So here are the 9 things that you need to ask for more and raise major gift. Are you ready for this? Because this is going to be rapid fire information for you that is just, I'm so excited. Okay. I have been working on this for so long. So you're the first to see it. You're the first to see it. You are. It's weird that I'm looking at my webcam, but I'm talking to you. Isn't this so strange, the time that we live in? Okay. So there's 9 of them, but a couple of them I'm going to dig in more. And the first one has to do with assumptions. So I'm going to give you the solution to that. Sound good? You with me? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a woohoo, something. Okay, here we go. We're cruising. So here are the top 3. You need courage, you need a strategy, and you need some relationships. Those are 3 key things. By the way, those of you, you're listening to my voice, you're going to get this slide deck. So you can take notes, but you're also going to get access to the recording and the whole slide deck. So don't feel like, you can, I got your back. I got your back. Okay. And these are the 3 things that I believe make people a world-class fundraiser. World-class. So we're going to fill in this framework, 3 things to help you build courage, 3 things to help you build strategy, and 3 things to help you build relationships. Are you ready? So let's do it. The first one is abundance attitude. And I'm going to dig in a little bit more on this one because this has to do with my biggest mistake that I see people make, right? Which is all of those assumptions. This is the biggest one. And this is the one where we start because this is the one you will probably need to revisit over and over and over again. You're going to come up against it all the time. What do I mean by abundance attitude? The thoughts and behaviors that you choose in giving your donors the benefit of the doubt, believing in the best in them, right? So in a word, faith. Faith. That you have faith in your donors and who they are as humans. There you go, faith. I skipped that slide. I just talked right over it. All right. So here's what that looks like. The donor will tell you if they're maxed out. I have, in my time, I have asked for 6-figure gifts that I thought was enormous. And if I asked for too much, after building the relationship and doing my research, and they know that I'm going to ask them. It's not a surprise. And I ask for too much. They are never offended. They might be flattered, but they'll tell me if they can't give that, right? It also looks like just believing that they want to hear from you, that they care, that you're seeing your donors as being a part of your team. Believing that, hey, you know what? People are busy and it's not personal. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not that they don't want to hear from Chris or Maylot or Rebecca. It's because they're busy. They have other competing priorities in their life. And one of my favorites, your personal views on money are not theirs. What you think is a lot of money is not what they think is a lot of money. And if you want a response to your email, here's a hot tip, ask for one. Reply again and say, hey, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know blank. I'll follow up with you again by this time if I don't hear from you. So which one of these do you think you need to take with you? 1 through 9. This is an attitude. This is a belief that I need to adopt. I'm going to choose to adopt about my donors. I'm going to choose to believe this is true. That's one of my favorite ones is 5. They're on your team. It's a great marriage tip. When I'm mad at my husband, I'm like, Julie, he's on your team. And it changes everything, especially when I have a bad attitude. 7, yeah, it has nothing to do with you. People are busy. Trey says thumbs up. That's my husband, by the way. Chris says 6. Yeah, they give because they care. And it's true. It's true. Yeah, your personal views of money are not theirs. That is a fact. That's a fact. Maylot says they want to hear from you. Yeah, they do. They'll unsubscribe. They'll tell you, hey, I'm getting too many emails. How many of you have ever been told that? Probably 0 times. Hey, I'm getting too many emails. Maybe from someone who shouldn't be on your board and says, I'm getting too many emails. Maybe that person. But other than that, I doubt it's happening. Let's move to the next one for courage. So you got to believe the best in people, right? You got to have an abundance attitude, and then you have to humble yourself. Julie, what does humility have to do with courage? Well, I'll tell you. Here's the problem. You don't raise enough money because your personal beliefs and your personal history with money influences your strategy. It influences your decision-making, how much you ask for, if you even ask. You personally believe that a certain amount is a lot of money, and so you're not going to ask someone for that because you think it's ridiculous or it's absurd. And the solution to this is to resist projecting your own money stuff onto your donors. I think it's pretty clear during this pandemic that we're not all experiencing it in the same way, right? Some people are really struggling. A lot of them, your nonprofit serves. And some people are not struggling. Their net worth has grown over the last 12 months. So the way to embody humility is to focus on serving your donors instead. If you believe that they want to make a difference, then asking them to give is a way of serving them and humbling yourself and putting your own views and personal deal with money aside. If you think that 10K, 20K is a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a lot to your donors. Yeah? That's how you build courage. So the third part to this is owning your genius. What do I mean by that? You're trying to raise money like somebody else. You're not being you. You think you got to be, an extrovert, or you got to be an introvert, or you've got to be an amazing public speaker, or you've got to be the best copywriter ever, or you have to be really good at TikTok, or whatever it is that you think you believe about how you have to raise money. Own who you are. I talk a lot about strengths and Gallup StrengthsFinder assessment and the way in which you can use your strengths to raise money. There is a fundraiser in here named Rebecca Edwards, and I'm going to call her out because she's one of my best friends. She and I are very different. She is an introvert. She is fabulous one-on-one. She is powerful. She has raised millions of dollars. And she didn't do it by trying to act like somebody else. She did it because she is a relational savant who is really good one-on-one. If that's you, that's what you need to focus on. If you're a really great writer, you need to do that. You need to write a lot, write every day. Leverage your strengths and what you're really great at to fundraise. There are so many ways to do this. And here are some questions that I want you to ask yourself, right? What is it that you're really great at doing that you love to do? And how can you leverage that to raise more money? That's what I want you to think about. So owning your genius, that's how you're going to get courageous. You with me? What do you think? I want you to write in the chat a strength that you have that you can use to really own your genius to raise more money. Yes, April, that's really good. Bringing people together. Storytelling, amazing. Yes, Leslie, research is so good. Wow. Chris Duran, you are a really great listener. I agree. Interpersonal skills. Yes, I love research too. It's so good. Julie called it. I love a good one-on-one. You're right. You're right. And you're good at them. Okay. That's your genius, babe. That's your genius. Clarity and conscious messaging. Yes. Trustworthy. I love that. So now that we've covered courage, right? These are the three main things for courage. We're going to jump into strategy. So first, you need to fill your toolkit. You need to get trained, right? And somebody mentioned this earlier. Maybe it was Lenice. You need to know how to do this. And YouTube and downloading a bunch of freebie PDFs are not going to cut it. And your charm and your charisma is not scalable. You need to know how, and you need to learn from a pro. And as Jeff Foxworthy says here, this ain't my first rodeo. You need to make time for professional development, ongoing professional development. I have a coach that I work with because I constantly want to get better. I'm trying to raise $1 billion in my career. I'm just going to be really honest with you. So I am constantly developing and learning. There's always something more you can learn. The next is building an ownership culture. This is pivotal. This is a part of your strategy. Your culture is your strategy, right? So the problem is that you got people up in there saying, oh, that's not my job. Fundraising, I don't do that. What, you want me to go on a donor meeting? I don't do that. This is the problem. When you hear that crap, nuh-uh. You ain't going to raise a lot of money doing that because you're out here on your own. You're out here on your own. It's a problem. You can't be out here on your own. You can't do it. If you want to raise more money, you need to empower your team. And even if your program staff, your volunteers, your board, even if their entire job, 10% of it is being involved in some part of the fundraising process, does not mean that they're asking, right? And that everybody owns the success and the failure, and they value fundraising, and they understand what it actually is, like how long it takes, like what is it? and what their role is in it, right? And this is a big one. This is not easy. I'm not trying to say this is easy, okay? But it is absolutely what you need. You need an ownership culture where when you don't hit the goal, everybody on the team says, you know what I could have done differently? I could have done this. Everybody. Because they own the success and the failure. And the last part of your strategy is you need to curate your donor experience. So what I mean by that is that you have an annual engagement funnel that suits your culture, right? Some people call it a cycle, but I prefer a funnel because you're bringing people closer to you, right? That's the idea. And something that's fun, you know, what do you want to do? Again, play to your strengths, own your genius. Do you want to do a bunch of one-on-ones? Do you want to do a bunch of webinars? What if you did like a monthly, like public speaking thing like this, you know, and you did a presentation? Maybe some people want to attend that because you're a really excellent public speaker. Maybe it could be any number of things. Create your annual donor experience and get out in front of it. And here's something that you'll actually do, okay? I don't want you to write a plan for something you ain't gonna do, because what good is that plan? So here we go. You with me still? You with me? You're tracking. Okay, we're moving into the relationships part. So the first part of building your relationships is leading with why. And this has to do with your communication. Some of you don't raise enough money because you don't communicate enough or you don't communicate well. Meaning you're not constantly connecting all of your communication to the why. Why is this donor a part of your team? Why are you reaching out to them? Why do you do what you do? Why? Lead with that. And I really love this quote. It is so good. John Gordon says, where there is a lack of communication, negativity usually fills that space, right? And that's why we have assumptions. That's why it's the biggest mistake, because when we're not talking to our donors, we're thinking that they don't want to hear from us. So you got to communicate regularly and really well. So this does have to do with storytelling. And one of you said that, Sarah Caldwell, you said that's your girl. You better storytell. So the next one is activating your catalyst. This is one of my favorites. This has to do with your board. Your board. The problem is your board sucks. That's the problem. And you don't want to say that. You don't want to say it. I'll say it. It's okay. You don't have to say it. Don't say it. Don't say that. How do you know your board sucks? Well, they don't show up to meetings. When they do, they don't ask any questions. They're just like, yep, sounds good. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Lenise. Sounds good. Looks good. Budget looks good. Everything looks good. Looks good. Yep. Looks good. Or they bring a lot of complaints. You guys should be doing this, or a lot of ideas that they're not there to offer help with. This is what you should be doing, Maylot. You should be doing this. You should be... The solution is that you invest in training your board based on their strengths, right? Strengths approach. That's going to be the gong that I'm banging every day. And that what good looks like here is that they become generosity evangelists and they exceed goals for you. That is possible. I've helped boards do this as a development director. When I was a development director, our board raised 35% of our annual revenue. So it's completely possible. You got to have the right people and you got to activate them. And some of you need to activate your catalysts just by holding them to what they said they were going to do. Some of your board doesn't suck. They say they offer help, but you don't follow up. You don't, hey, you said this. When are you going to do that by? And just asking that question. Rebecca says, yes, generosity evangelists. And remember, when you're curating your donor experience, you can feel confident that they're having such a great experience being your donor throughout the course of the year, that they organically become evangelists because they're just having such a great time giving and hearing from you constantly with your great storytelling. Here's the last one. And this one, it's good. It's really good. Become a joy maker. In my head, you're all going like, but we're in a Zoom, so that's not happening. You don't raise enough money because you're asking for too little. That's why. And when you bring someone close who loves what you do and they're passionate about it, and you ask them to give an amount that they have to think about, they have to pray about, they have to talk to their spouse or their partner, they have to go talk to their accountant, they have to think about it. It's not an automatically yes. When they give that gift, there is ultimate joy on the other side of that. I'm telling you, I've seen it over and over and over again, and it is so fun. There is nothing more fun. The donor is thanking you. They are like, thank you for this opportunity to give you $250,000. So the solution here is you need to be more audacious. You need to ask for more. When you invite them to give more, you are inviting them to become the most generous version of themselves. You are leading them. It is a leadership conversation. Who are you? What are you about? Are you willing to not just give out of abundance? Are you willing to give even if it costs you? Do you believe that? Do you believe that you have donors like that? Because you do. Right? Lenise, it costs you something to run this nonprofit, doesn't it? You're not the only one who's willing to pay the price. You're not. And what it looks like when you become a joy maker is you have, and Chris Duran, you have done this, my friend. You have people just showing up and they just bring you money. Now, it doesn't happen every day, but they're just like, man, I read that newsletter, or I saw what y'all were doing, and you don't even know what they're talking about, right? They're just so vague. They're like, I saw what y'all were doing. Right? It could have been that they saw your video that you put on Instagram. It could have been that they, came across your website. It could have been any number of things. And they're like, I just had to bring you this check for $20,000. I just had to do it. It's possible. Isn't that awesome? It's awesome. Okay. Here's the completed framework. Courage, strategy, relationships. And here are the 9 things that you need to raise more, to ask for more, to raise major gifts. You with me? How you feeling? We're doing good on time, I think. April says she's good. Good. So that was my promise. I told you what I thought the biggest mistake was, which is all these assumptions, and then the 9 things you need. And so I really believe that the status quo has to be completely shattered. Okay, so you have the ability to make a choice today and to take action because I have something for you. I can help you with this. I've done this myself and I can help, which is why I have created CourageLab. CourageLab is my new 6-week group coaching program for ambitious nonprofit leaders like you who want to raise more money. You want to focus on major gifts. It's led by me. This is me. Here's a photo of me looking very serious. Because sometimes I'm serious. Sometimes I'm serious. I'm also goofy. So It's a 6-week accelerator, and you get live coaching with me every week, which is really fun. I love doing group coaching. Group coaching is awesome because you learn from the questions that other people ask. And as you can see in the chat, a lot of you are dealing with the same stuff, right? You get access to an expanded network of amazing nonprofit leaders, and many of you are on the call right now. And you also get access to my 6-week course called Major Gifts Pro, which is apparently popular. And it's all based on this framework. This is what we go through together. We go through it in depth. It's for you if this sounds like you. If you've already raised 75K in a year, your organization or your personal raise minimum, you want to overcome these fears. You want to overcome all the stuff that has been the status quo that you've been struggling dealing with. You want to raise more, and you want to focus on individuals. And you value diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if that sounds like you, I'll tell you more about it. In the CourageLab, this is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn all of the success strategies that I've used in my career on how do you build a culture of generosity? How do you build a team, a board, an organization where people just start bringing you money? They want to give. They want to give more, right? How do you prioritize your time and your donors? We talked about research. I'm a big fan of research. I think it's really important. How do you conduct prospect research? How do you research your current donors and actually know what's possible? This is crucial. How do you have a great donor meeting, virtually and in person? How do you ask for major gifts? And how do you engage your board? These are the main things that you learn. Plus, you get connected to an amazing network of nonprofit leaders. So those are the things you'll learn. And here's the investment. You can choose whichever one's best for you. It's $24.97 one-time investment, and you get a bonus with that. You get me as a thought partner for a day. So I'm calling it like a pick my brain day. If you want my specific help in crafting an ask or looking over an email that you're going to send or a newsletter or whatever it might be, I'm happy to give feedback for an entire day. Or you can make 3 easy payments of $9.97. And there is an exclusive special bonus for those of you who are here right now. You also get, with either payment option, because you're here for this webinar, a 1-hour one-on-one coaching session with me. We can cover whatever it is that is most important to you. And the only caveat there is you need to purchase within 48 hours. So you do need to apply to join CourageLab. It is not open to just anyone, right? We're looking for people who have met that criteria I mentioned earlier, and that it's a good fit for you and that you'll get the most out of this. You do get a lot of direct coaching from me, and I want to support you. And I know who I can really help. So if you're brand new, this probably isn't for you. And there's the link for you to apply, and coaching starts on the 16th. So what are your questions? Any questions? Related to CourageLab, related to anything that we've discussed today, you can put them in the chat. You can also, put them in the chat. That's a good place to start. What are your thoughts? Stephanie, that's correct. Yes. Yep. And this is the first time that I'm doing this cohort, so it starts this month. And I will most likely do it again later this year. But I cannot guarantee the same price. So if this is really important to you, you want to move now, I can help you build your major gift strategy for the rest of this calendar year, getting in February. This is something that I'm really passionate about and I'm so excited for. So my goal is to get 8 people in the first cohort. That is my goal. So if you or anyone you know wants to be a part of this, you can apply. We are going to be accepting applications until February 13th. But of course, if you want to get the bonuses, then you need to act now. And I'll put that up. That's the investment, and then obviously the 2 bonuses if you pay within the next 48 hours. Thank you, April. Yeah, I'm so excited. And I know we're going to have a lot of fun. So if the group ends up being anything like all of you, then this is my dream life. I'm just so pleased. So any questions even about major gifts, about individual giving, asking for more, building courage, developing your strategy? What are the challenges that you're facing right now? And how can I support you? We have about 12 minutes left. If you have a question, now's your chance.
Is it okay if I just say it, or was I?
Yeah, go ahead, April. Hi.
Hi, and I know we're touching base next week, but
yes.
Maybe other people benefit from this. So we have a lot of donors. I work at Chrysalis. We provide employment services, have a pretty long history with a lot of our donors. And there's a lot of people that give like the exact same amount and have for like 5 to 15 years. And it's like, I've heard different things about like, oh, those are donors to focus on to upsell, or like if they've given at that level for years, that's just what they're going to give at. So kind of would love to hear from you around that topic. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah. Congratulations that you have people who give loyally for 5 to 15 years. That is amazing, right? Anybody else in the chat wish they had that situation going on? So I am a strong believer in focusing on current donors first. I'm going to advocate for that every day of the week that ends in Y. They're new donors. So the stats are really not good. And I wonder what it would be for Chrysalis, April. 25% of the people who give for the first time to a nonprofit give again. 25% of people who give again. So that is, we're all in our own boat, and we have a huge, giant hole in the boat. That's something that we've got to fix, right? So you can focus on new donors if you have a really strong retention. If you don't, then you absolutely need to focus on your current donors, because you could get new donors and then have a long list of other people who don't give to you again. If they're giving for 15 years at the same amount, it's about damn time to ask them for an increase. I'm not sure why you haven't. It's pretty easy to segment your list and just send out a letter in December that says, hey, would you consider giving 15% more? I mean, that doesn't take a lot of time. And even if, 25% of those people give 50% more, 15% more, that's great. If people give the same exact amount for 15 years or 5 years, they're on autopilot, right? It's a habit now. And it indicates to me that there's some warming up to be done. There's some people there's a group of people who they care, and if they didn't, they would have stopped. So they're giving even though they're not really feeling a lot of love. They're still going to keep giving. What would they give if they felt more love? So that would be an interesting question to ask you and your team and to really dig into. How can we digitally, or however it is that they like to engage with us, really get them to get closer, and who wants to get closer, right? So increasing your communication to that group of people, your most loyal donors, and then seeing who's responsive. Survey them and ask them, why do you still give? You've been giving, loyally for 15 years. Why do you do that? And you'll see who replies. And then those people, because they communicate, are indicating to you that they're interested, right? They want to be closer. That's what they're telling you. So start there. That's what I would do. Improve your donor experience so that when you bring in new donors, they're likely to stay. Yeah. Oh, good. First-time donors are 3 times more likely to donate again in a larger sum if they are contacted within the first 48 hours of their original donation. Y'all need to read that. Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the wealth management tools some CRMs provide? Do you think they're useful? I'm not a fan. I don't advocate for my clients to use wealth management tools unless you're a really huge organization. But even then, wealth management tools leave out a lot of people. And I think I'm one for not making assumptions. And I think the best research that you can do is to ask your donors and to talk to them. Because even really savvy donors who are really wealthy, you cannot find a lot of the stuff online, and in wealth management tools is going to filter it out, the stuff that you really need to know. So there's no research like talking to your donors and asking them. And you find out a lot about their financial situation when you ask them for more money. When you ask them for a larger gift, they will tell you, you know what? I actually can't give that because I just put my mother into assisted living and I'm paying for that. And then you're like, oh, you couldn't find that on a wealth engine. You can't Google that. No, how are you going to get that unless you actually know your donors and they tell you? And then you don't have to make up these really crappy assumptions about how they don't like you or they don't care or they're annoyed or they're put off. No, it's not any of that. So I'm not a huge fan of using the wealth management tools. I think that you can find way more actually building relationships, asking a lot of questions, getting curious. And it doesn't take a lot of time to do that. It just takes a lot of intention. And typically the ones who give the most don't necessarily have the most, right? If you look at the broader picture of the giving that's done in the US, foundations and corporations have more money than individuals. They do not give more. So just because someone has more money does not mean they're going to give you more money. It's a whole other thing. And the people who are most generous usually don't have the most money. We know this. We all know this. So I think a lot of times, and this doesn't have to necessarily do just with wealth management tools, but a lot of times we get distracted by people who are celebrities, by people who are high profile, by C-suite executives, by people who make a lot and we know that they make a lot. We get distracted by trying to draw in those donors when we don't have a relationship, rather than to steward and bring close the people who are already giving. And we know that they already care. And if we took care of them, they would end up giving what we hope that C-suite executive would give. Oh, okay. This is a longer one here. Long-term donors who give. Some board members, yeah, they don't seem to care much about our mission. Okay, so there's an assumption. You seeing it? They give because, do you know that? How do you know that they give because of their relationship with some board members? Did you ask them, hey, why do you give? And then they told you, well, because of my relationship with the board member. They don't seem to care much about the mission. So that's the, frankly, judgment that you're having on them, unless they told you that. Unless they said, you know what, Sarah, I just don't, I kind of, this isn't even my passion, but I'm here because I'm loyal to April. People have said that to me. They're like, you know what, this isn't even, I'm here because my boss asked me to be, and because, you know, this person is my mentor, and that's why I'm here. They'll tell you. Our board doesn't want us to bother them. Does your board say that? Do they use that? Because that's a quote there. So I don't want to. How can we get to know them better and engage them more? Yeah, that's tough. If you have people in your organization who are gatekeepers and are not allowing you to fundraise, is what you're saying. That's an organization that I suggest that you leave. I don't know. That's just my advice. I mean, I don't know the whole situation. Yeah, I agree. It feels like a lack of trust. Yeah. And I think sometimes let's give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Sometimes when people are gatekeepers, they believe what you're going to do is, you know, shake them down for money, right? You're going to shake down my board. You're going to shake my friends down. They don't actually, what's happening is there's ignorance there. They don't actually know what fundraising is. And so it's, you know, if you can, it's a great opportunity to educate them. Hey, we just want to build relationships. We just want to ask them, why do they give? We want to understand. Maybe you could, you know, an easier on-ramp would be, hey, can we send a survey? It's not personal. It's just an email survey asking 3 questions. You pick your best 3 questions. One of them should be, why do you give? You know, and see if you can get approval to email that. And then use that data to break them down. Like, hey, they give actually because of this reason. And then maybe you can build a strategy around that. That would be my suggestion. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, there is hope. You're right. Congratulations on recruiting 3 new board members. That's amazing. That's a lot of work. So really, really good stuff. Any other questions? Because we're about ending our time. I'll take one more. How was this for you? Was this helpful for you? Was this encouraging? Is this useful information? Give me some feedback in the chat. Let me know what you thought. I mean, I had a blast. I don't know if you can tell, but I could talk about this all day. So thank you so much for being with me and being here and participating. And I know that fundraising is super challenging right now, even especially. And thank you, Chris. And yeah, and I'm creating CourageLab because I don't want people to be alone. And I want them to have the support of, you know, from me and the support from their peers. And frankly, when I was in fundraising, there were times where I was very lucky to have amazing peers who I could talk to every day and who were helping me to build courage and ask for more. And there were times where I was all alone and it was untenable. It's near impossible to raise more money when you're out here on your own. You have to have a community of people who are alongside you, who are doing it with you. And that's why I created CourageLab, because it's not enough to have a coach. You have to have a community. You have to have both if you really want to raise major money. So I have a feeling that you all do. I invite you to apply to CourageLab. I'd love for you to join me. We are going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to raise a lot of money, and we're going to change the world. So I really appreciate you being with me today. Thank you so much. I hope that this helps you. I hope that you can take something from today and apply it to your job, because your job is one of the most important in the world. That's what I believe. So you make the world go around. You fund the mission. If there is no funding, there is no nothing. So that is really important. So I hope that you know that. And yes, thank you, Sarah. Very helpful. Yes, reframe about your thoughts. Yeah, I hear that. Absolutely. We all need that. So thank you for joining, everybody, and apply to CourageLab, get the bonuses, and tell your colleagues, tell a friend. If there's someone who you think belongs in this cohort for this spring, I would love for them to be a part of it. And you will also get the slides and the replay. So if you want to refer back to the framework, if that's helpful for you, you can do that today. So thank you guys so much. It's so good to see you. Thank you. Bye, Chris. Thanks so much. Thank you, April. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Rebecca.